Hey guys, it's Melissa here. Today I wanted to talk to you about getting ready for the big shift. And what I mean by this is, as a whole collective consciousness, we are shifting from 3D to 5D. And what that basically means is, we are limited by the 3D. We are dependent on these low vibrational things like fear and lack. And we always feel like life is happening to us instead of for us. And we don't feel like we have any control over things. And that's a very low vibrational place to be. When we shift into the 5D, we're shifting more into a collective unity. We are working together and we are bringing forth love and light as an entire collective. And so when we do that, we are, number one, co-creating with the universe. And number two, we are giving up those low vibrational things like fear and lack, those lack mindsets. We are shifting from those things. And so it's not an easy shift to make because so many of us have been conditioned for so long and programmed to rely on fear and to have these limiting beliefs about lack. And it's difficult for us to step out of that. But when we shift from 5D, we're changing our programming. We are going from thinking that, we're never going to have enough and life's always difficult and bad things always happen to us, things like that. We're shifting from that to knowing that we co-create whatever we want with the universe and that there's always an abundance, that there's more than enough to go around. And just because I want abundance, it doesn't mean it cuts away or takes away from anyone else's abundance, that there's plenty to go around. And we start shifting into things like that, and we shift our energies from very low vibrational, because we talked about this before, fear and lack, those are very low vibrational places. But abundance and co-creating, you have to have a very high vibration in order to do that. And so it takes practice to be able to shift from one to the other, to shift your mindset. And today I was listening on the way home to an Abraham Hicks channel again, and a woman brought up a story, and I thought that I would share it with you because I thought it was really interesting, number one, and it kind of models what I'm talking about, that whole shifting your mindset. So she was talking about how she really, really wanted to have a relationship with a certain guy, and she kept calling him Fred. So she wanted to have a relationship with Fred, and she could not stop thinking about Fred, and she kind of obsessed over it, but nothing was happening with Fred. She couldn't see anything happening, but she was thinking about it. And she did this for a while, and one day saw Fred driving down her street, and she kind of took this as a sign of, okay, he's driving down my street. So she went to his house to go visit him and probably say, why were you on my street, right? So she knocked on the door, and she did not get a warm welcome, right? He seemed surprised she was there and like, why are you here? And it wasn't a very pleasant experience. And so she said, okay, so how can I stop obsessing over this? Or why did it happen this way? And this is what was explained. So what was explained was that thought of, I want all of the loving qualities in a person that I have with Fred, right? All of the things that I really loved about him and all of the positive parts about him. And she said, the universe heard you. They heard what you wanted. They received it, and they're working on it. But then she said, when it wasn't happening, where did your mind go? What kind of thoughts did you have? And she said, well, I would think of things like, why isn't this happening yet? And this is never going to happen. And what if this doesn't happen? Or what if I'm alone? So all of those negative, low vibrational thoughts were creeping in. And she said, okay, so was that a comfortable thought? No, it was not. It was a very uncomfortable thought. All right, so what other thoughts did you have that were comfortable? Well, when I would think about how nice and loving and kind and how happy I was and the good qualities he has, okay, so that was a comfortable thought, right? Yes. But the other, not comfortable at all. Okay. And how much of the time would you say you were spending on the uncomfortable thought? Yeah, way more than I should have been. More than the comfortable thoughts. Yes, is how she answered. So she was spending much of her time letting her mind go to the place where this is never going to happen. It's not going to work out. All of those negative, low vibrational energies. And so the other thing she said was, well, okay, so when you went and knocked on Fred's door, you were interrupting that thought, that flow, because the universe heard what you wanted and we were working on it. But then you took it upon yourself to take action and do the thing. You know, everything happens in divine timing. And so instead of just relaxing and letting go of control and focusing on the positive thoughts, it's like you let the negative thoughts take over, and then you decided you needed to take action, so you needed to control the outcome. And you went and you visited, and it didn't go well. And she said, when it's not in divine timing, that's going to happen every time. But if you were to focus on the positive thoughts and think about all of the good qualities, you know, it doesn't even have to show up that it has to be that person. When you let go of the control of the outcome, when you detach from the outcome, when you say, this is how I want to feel, and you focus on the feelings, I want to feel in love, I want to feel supported, I want to feel wanted, I want to feel needed. When you focus on the feelings that you want to feel, that's what the universe picks up on. These are all of the qualities that she wants, okay? And you let go of the need to control, you're either going to get Fred or you're going to get someone better than Fred, right? Because our minds oftentimes don't even think grand enough. Like the universe has much bigger things in store for us than what we could even imagine. But the universe knows what we want, and we put that out there, but we're not focusing on the things we want. We're focusing on the things we don't want. We're focusing on the lack, right? I don't have this. Why don't I have this? Why isn't it here? It's never going to happen. That's what you end up focusing on. You probably don't even realize you're doing it. And it's like swimming upstream. When we swim upstream, life becomes so much harder. And if Fred is sitting in a pool of water downstream, but we're trying to swim upstream, we're never going to get to him. But if we just let go of the need to control and we focus on being in the flow and focusing on the good things, the things we want to see, and then detaching from the need to control it, realizing it's going to happen in divine timing. You don't have any control over that. You really don't. It's going to happen when it's divinely timed, when it's supposed to. And honestly, if you think about it, that makes life just a little bit easier, because when you realize I don't have control, you can stop worrying about it. Just let it go. And that's what she said too. She said, how do you know when you're out of the flow and when you're trying to control? And she said, well, when you're out of the flow, you get really tense and you feel really stressed and things become so much more difficult. When you're in the flow and you've given it to the universe and you detach from any outcome, you know, that, and tell yourself, what I like to say sometimes is, everything is working out on my behalf in divine timing, whatever the situation is. Because believe me, it's easy to become impatient and to think, why isn't this happening? Why isn't this here? What is going on? When you can detach and just say to yourself, everything is working out for my benefit in divine timing. The universe is working behind the scenes on my behalf, and everything is going to work out perfectly in divine timing. When you keep telling yourself that, can you feel how much more relaxed that is? When you're in the flow, your muscles relax, you're not tense, you're not stressed. Think about it. If I say, it has to happen in a month, you can hear the stress and tension in my voice. If I say, it's all going to happen in divine timing, it's a lot easier and it's definitely less stressful. And I'm more in the flow that way. And if Fred is downstream and I'm just going along with the flow and I'm going downstream instead of upstream, eventually I'm going to run into Fred, right? Because I'm not fighting it anymore. I'm not trying to control the outcome. I'm just allowing it to happen. The universe is divinely guiding many of our steps, and we just need to know that it's okay to let go of that control. As humans, it is our nature to want to step in and control everything that happens. But that's fear. That's fear stepping in. It's like when they tell you if you're going to fall, don't reach your arms out to brace yourself, because most people who do end up breaking a wrist. And if they were to just fall, they usually don't hurt themselves as badly because they go with the flow. When you try to stop yourself, you end up hurting yourself even more because you throw your hands out and then the impact of your hands hitting the ground trying to brace you breaks your wrist. And so if you think about that analogy, when you try to control what happens in your life, like controlling the way you fall, you're going to make it worse. You're going to make things harder. It's going to be like swimming upstream. But when you can let go and just be in the flow and allow things to happen and letting control of the outcome, letting go of that control of the outcome, I should say, and detaching from the outcome. You almost have to detach from it. Like, this would be great, whatever happens that's for my highest good. Because honestly, it's good to know what you want, but we have to let go of how it's going to show up, when it's going to show up. Because the universe knows what we need exactly when we need it, more than we do. We can only see what's right in front of our face. We can't see the big picture oftentimes. And if we could, looking back in the past, you probably have noticed that had you seen the big picture about something, you would have done things differently. And that's the thing, we can't see the big picture from where we are. So we have to learn to let go of control, knowing that there is a big picture and it's all going to work out, but we have to let go of the need to know how it's going to work out. And that is why so many people make their lives way more complicated than they have to be, because we constantly need to have control over what happens. And I was definitely someone who did this. A year ago, it was terrible. I was constantly fighting uphill. I was swimming upstream and making my life so difficult. And even now, it still takes me hearing things like this, like, you gotta let go of the need to control it. Just get in the flow. When you're in the flow, it's like things are so much easier and you feel so much more peaceful because you don't have to have any attachment to a particular outcome. You just know it's going to work out. So as we're getting ready to shift from 3D to 5D, it's so super important for you to shift your mindset into this, getting into the flow, because you are co-creating with the universe, and whatever it is that you're focusing on is what you're going to end up creating. Do you want to focus on lack, on negativity, on destruction? Because those are the things you're going to create. Or do you want to focus on abundance, happiness, wealth? Because you're absolutely capable of creating that. You put the energy out there that this is what you want. And it's a feeling of what would it be like to have that? How awesome would that be? How wonderful would it feel to not have to worry anymore from paycheck to paycheck, to not have that worry, to know that everything comes in easily. Money is just energy. It flows in easily. It comes in magical ways. And letting go of the control of how it comes in. It can come in surprising ways. Doesn't matter. We leave that up to the universe. And then we let go of the control and we just float. We just float in the flow, allowing the wonderful things to come in and not having a care in the world. I liken it to those experiences you can have where you go, I guess they're called float sessions, and you go in like a deprivation tank and you're in there and it's dark and it's quiet and you're just floating. They say that it's supposed to be such a peaceful experience and I've never done it. And my daughter, she always wants me to book a session. She's like, we need to go do this. And I agree with her. I think we need to go try it. But to me, I think it would be like that. You just let go, release. Think about the feeling if you've ever gone to get a massage and they have the room dimly lit and there's a wonderful fragrance and they have soft music playing in the background and you get a really good massage therapist who knows exactly the right kind of pressure and it's just totally peaceful and relaxing. It's like being in that state, not having a care in the world. We have to get to that point. And it's not easy to do because we can definitely work ourselves up. I just finished writing the last chapter. I ended up adding another chapter to my book and then sent it off to publishers. And I added a chapter about manipulation and emotional reactions and how people who try to manipulate you do so because they're trying to control your reaction. And in a way, they're stealing your power. And so when you can learn to not react when somebody does something to you and you know they're doing it just to get you, and that's really, really hard to do, but when you can get to that point, they stop because it's not fun for them anymore. And in the same way, we have to be able to get to the point where we don't react when things don't go our way because we don't want to focus on the negative. We want to focus on the positive. So I would challenge you today to start thinking about your thoughts and keeping them positive and start learning how to relinquish control over outcomes in your life. And if this is an area you feel like you need work, think about joining my program, A Purposeful Pilgrimage, because I do a whole lesson on this. There are a couple of lessons on this, actually. So think about that. It is eye-opening to really realize how often you have an emotional reaction to things and how it affects you and it affects your day and it affects what happens and how different your life becomes when you stop doing that. It's amazing, honestly. Never would have thought that would have been the case, but it is amazing. All right, guys. I wanted to pull a card for you before we leave. And so I pulled a card from The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein. And it says, my capacity to tune in to the energy of love gives me the words I need when I'm ready to speak up, the compassion I need when it's time to forgive, and the power I need when I am lost. So when we tune in to higher energy frequencies, when we tune into that, things are provided for us. When we have to speak up, the words are there. When we need to give compassion to people, it's there. When we're not sure where to go, suddenly we raise our vibrations and we tune into that intuition, it becomes clear. I hope that you guys are not experiencing heavy energy, that it's not overwhelming you or becoming too much. But if it is, Reiki is definitely something that can help. It can clear your energy. So much gets attached to us throughout the day and depletes our own energy. We don't even think about it. So Reiki can clear your energy, help you to feel better. I don't know about anybody else, but I have been so tired the last couple of weeks, and I know it has to do with all the stuff that's going on. I just feel like, and then we had Spring Forward, that didn't help either. So I feel like a walking zombie some days. So I'm trying to get my energy back. And I know a lot of people have been sick too, and that doesn't help. So if you have been feeling like that, consider getting a Reiki session. It definitely helps you feel better. You will feel refreshed, renewed, restored. Who doesn't want that? And if you're interested, I'm doing card readings. I've had a couple of people book with me this week. So if you want insight on a particular topic, money, love, we can look into that. If you just want a general reading, we can do that too, some general guidance. Or if you're interested in one-on-one coaching, if you feel like you just really don't know where to go in life, or you feel like you've kind of gotten off track and you want to know, what is my purpose? What should I be doing? Where should I go? Where should I turn? Book a session with me. We dive into whatever it is you need. Every session is tailored specifically for you. We can take a look at what's going on with you. And as always, don't forget to join me on my Facebook Lives. They're every Tuesday at 7 Central, so I have one tonight. I hope to see you there, which is an opportunity to get a little mini free reading. And I have new meditations on my website as well. I have a new healing meditation that will take you through a physical and emotional healing. I have a chakra healing, and then I also have just a peaceful, relaxing tranquility garden meditation. Jeez, listen to me, I can't even say it right. Okay, so meditation. So check those out. You can purchase those and then you'll have them forever. And I like doing meditations in the morning and in the evening. You can choose to do them whenever. As always, if you like this podcast, please share it with others. Please leave reviews. That helps other people find me. Leave stars on iTunes or write a review. I would super appreciate that. I appreciate all of you. Love you all. Thank you for being part of my tribe. I hope that you have a wonderful day. I'm sending you massive love and light. I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.